Star Registry for $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com. You can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
They're back.
What? Caramel apples are back at Dan's Homemade Candies?
They are indeed.
You mean that mouth-watering, sweet, delicious, hand-dipped fresh caramel apple from Dan's Homemade Candies? They're there? Like right now?
Yep, all the varieties of caramel apples that start with a crisp, juicy, farm fresh apple dipped in Dan's smooth, creamy homemade caramel made fresh daily right there in the store.
Let's go! Should I get the original caramel, chocolate covered, or with nuts, or both?
I'm going dark chocolate in the big, fattest caramel dripping apple you've ever seen.
Dan's Homemade Candies, here we come.
Dan's Homemade Candies are only here for a limited time at 1003 Plainfield Road in Joliet and in downtown Joliet at 229 East Cass Street. Online at danshomemadecandies.com.
EDGYTIM is here. Coach Rod is here. The best high school football fans in the state are here. It's time for Pigskin Preview. Coaches, players, fans, and experts. You get them all right here on Pigskin Preview. Powered by State Farm agents Kevin Malloy and John Wright.
And good evening and welcome to the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL. Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach Joe Rodegaro, Evan Bredesen spinning the dials. And gentlemen, no monkey business tonight. We are getting right after it. No phone calls. This is going to be guest intensive for the first hour. Guys, this edition and every edition of Pigskin Preview brought to you by our State Farm agents, Kevin Malloy in New Lenox and John Wright in Joliet. Like a good neighbor, Joe?
State Farm is there.
Like to welcome the multiple Hall of Famer Joe Rodegaro joining us this evening.
Yeah.
Do you get like parking now at like Joliet Catholic for all events? And do you get to like sample the tailgates and stuff now? Do you get to like cut in line
just
or
a cog in the machine? That's all I
No, I'm sorry. He was over Providence for many years, but that's okay. We get where you're coming from.
I got my parking spot when I go to Providence. It's up at Kmart.
Yeah, mine too. You stole my secret spot, huh?
No, I always park there.
All right, the broadcast schedule is as follows. 6:05 Friday Night Lights with our guy Tony leading into the game of the week. Sandburg at Lincoln Way Central, 7 o'clock kickoff. And gentlemen, with that being said, we're going to go out to the phone lines and be joined by the head coach of your Lincoln Way Central Knights, Dave Woodburn, joins us. Coach, welcome aboard.
How you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well. Great to have you on board. I know it's a busy week for you, but I tell you, this is a big game this week. It would be pretty obvious. Coach, with your schedule this year, it seems like, gosh darn, every week's a big week for you guys.
Yeah, we've played some really good opponents, and obviously Sandburg, the next one up, and they're really good too. I think our schedule's it's been good to us, and it's been hard, but that's what we want. A good, hard schedule, prepare us for what's coming down the road, and I think what we've done in the past is going to help us tomorrow night.
Dave, last week against Bradley Bourbonnais, I think it was a big win. I know I talked to you, but a big win for the win's sake as far as getting to that magic number to make the playoffs. So it was a huge win, and Mr. Tulk had a tremendous game, and looking at him the other night, he's not very big, but
no,
I saw him at Providence and 34 carries. The kid must be in tremendous shape, but you got to give some kudos to the big uglies up front too. And I know he does, but I noticed at Providence too, that he really runs hard for his size.
Yeah, he runs hard. He sees the football field really well. And, man, our O-line, those guys, they grind every day. Coach Young, Coach Brown, Coach Lathis, those guys working with those guys. It's on when our D-line and O-line go against each other. And huge credit to them. And they'll run the ball 50 times if they have to.
As far as on the defensive side of the ball, talk about a couple of those kids that have stepped up. I know that, obviously able to get it done this year. So who are some of those kids that maybe we need to keep an eye out for tomorrow night?
Our two inside linebackers make my job really easy calling the defense. Ben Bernier's number 5 and Blake Richards number 10, right in the middle of the field. Those two guys, the things that they allow us to do and the calls they can make on the field, they're absolutely fantastic. And then right in front of them is Declan Lynch, and he's been playing hurt all year, and he's just starting to get healthy. And then right behind him is our junior safety, Nolan Morrill. So we're pretty stout down the middle of the field, and they just work really hard, and they're really smart kids. The stuff they allow us to do is pretty impressive. They make us coaches look good, I'd say that.
I noticed a little bit, and I could be wrong here, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but it looks like you made, by just looking at the starters from basically I'm not going to go into details, but starters from the Providence game defensively to the starters that are going to be going against Sandburg, you made a few little kind of minor tweaks, haven't you?
No, not really. We just have a couple different personnel groups, so I can't remember what you got against Providence, and knowing me, I probably screwed it off. So.
Nice.
We're pretty much the same, but we do have a lot of guys that pop in and personnel things that we do.
All right.
How's your son doing? How's he progressing? Grade him. Give me a letter grade for his performance so far.
He's doing good. He handed the ball off like 50 times last game. He did it really well.
Well, that's why I asked.
Yeah, and I think that was our game plan going into that one.
Yep.
With the wind and everything like that.
Oh, that's right.
He's progressing. Our offense is progressing, and I kind of feel like they're just getting in there. We as a football team are just getting in our groove and starting to feel pretty good about, the 3 phases of our game. So we got to carry that over tomorrow. But yeah, he's doing good. The offense is complicated and simple all at the same time.
Edge, I got a chance to meet Mr. Young Woodburn, and Dave knows that he knows that good-looking guy. Thank God he takes after his mom.
Thank God.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, definitely takes after his mom.
No, but I was impressed with him, and his role is whatever it takes to get a victory, in my opinion. I mean, if he has to throw 20 times, like against Providence, he threw the ball 20-some times, almost brought you guys back. Last week, very little, but again, the completion rate was there, and he just does what he's asked to do.
Yeah, I think all our guys, they just want to win football games and play together. I hope that's what they want to do, and it seems like that's where they're all at right now. And it's a pleasure to coach them, that's for sure. We're not the biggest and fastest group out there, but we play pretty hard. I'm proud to coach those guys.
I know I asked you this earlier in the year, and I'm going to ask you now, and I'm going to probably bug you again once you get into the playoffs. But as far as the conference is concerned this year, I know you still have, I believe it's Wabanzi left out of the quote-unquote non-conference teams from, a year ago. How's the feel been? What's kind of the talk around the conference? Because I'll be honest, Coach, I've talked to quite a few, and I'll put it to you this way. I haven't heard any real negatives from anybody, that it seems like it's working.
No, I don't. I mean, we're playing quality opponents and seeing some schools that we don't usually see. And, I don't have any complaints either. I like it. And, we see some of the same guys that Bradley, I'm sure we'll see Westman. Yep. And then we're going to make that trip to Wabanzi. Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's highly competitive. If you look across the board at the games and the scores, there's some really good games going on, and it's making all of us better.
Yeah.
Having to play Naperville North, that's a team that we wouldn't play, and having to play them and the caliber of football that they have, that helped us without a doubt last week. So I like it.
I think the one strange thing, and you kind of mentioned it, that you guys are going through it this year. No crossovers with West, no crossover with East. I got to imagine that's got to be talked about maybe and changed.
Yeah, I'm okay either way. We have a seriously, I don't know if people believe me or not, but we have a really good relationship, all three schools.
Right.
And we talk all the time. So,
Yep.
Yeah, if those games come back, that'll be great. Never really interested in coaching against them. I enjoy coaching with them. I'm fine not doing it.
Yep.
So,
Dave, people, on the board and stuff like that here on Thursday nights, and we get quite a few very, very smart, good people. Do you see any, speaking of do you see any realignment of teams possibly? Is that going to be talked about at the end of the year?
I think they're already talking about it.
Yeah, I do too. I was going to say
I try to, for the most part, I just stay in my lane and let people tell me where to go and do that. But I think it may go from, three divisions to two is the most recent talk.
Okay.
As far as the game tomorrow night, our game of the week, again, if you're not aware, our game of the week is Sandburg at Lincoln Way Central, 7 o'clock kickoff. Evan Bredesen, Joe Rodagero, and Talking Dave Dwyer on the call. So by all means, tune in. What are their concerns with the Eagles?
They're big, fast, they're strong. They were good last year. They're better than they were last year. Quarterback's really good. They got a handful of receivers. The old line's good. They got a guy going to Indiana, and their defense is similar to ours. To be honest, they're very sound in what they do. They're a complete defense. So we're gonna have to play all three phases of the game. They're good. I think it's going to be a good football game, but yeah, they're big and strong, and we're going to have to match that. We tend to be undersized sometimes with most teams we go up against, but it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dave, again, appreciate you taking some time and joining us, and again, very happy, very excited to be doing the game of the week, and good luck and go get them tomorrow night, okay?
Yeah, good luck, Dave.
All right, well, appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much.
All right, Dave Woodburn from Lincoln Way Central joins us, guys, and again, going to be a good game. I mean, Sandburg, we're going to have Troy McAllister on in a little bit, and we'll talk about the Eagles, but he's done a nice job there the last couple of years. It seems like, Joe, they might be turning the corner just a little bit.
Yes. What Dave and Lincoln Way Central cannot do is let them get off to a fast start like they did against Lincoln Way West.
Yeah, because it seemed like they had to play catch up the rest of the game. Was it 14-0 at one point, I think?
Yeah, it was, yes.
Yeah.
And although that was my bugaboo a little bit with Lincoln Way Central, the last few games they've gotten off to kind of quick starts and got the lead and stuff. And with the running game they have, they get the lead, they can milk the clock and keep it on their side.
All right, we're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we will go right back out to the phone lines and be joined, gentlemen, by the other side of the sideline tomorrow night for our game of the week. Troy McAllister, head coach of the Sandburg Eagles, joins us. You are listening to the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk Sports.
Hey, high school football fans. We are happy to announce this week's Malloy State Farm and Pigskin Preview Player of the Week. We would like to congratulate inside linebacker Josh Feldman, who had 12 tackles for a combined minus 15 yards and a blocked PAT in Lincoln Way West 41-19 victory over Andrew. Josh and his parents will join us along with Coach Chalmers on December 8th at the award ceremony at Gatto's in New Lenox, sponsored by Frank Gatto, a great partner to this program. Congratulations, Chase.
Accumulation, preservation, generation. At Busey Bank, these are the principles we use to build meaningful financial partnerships with our clients and their families. With sound advice and vast resources, partner with Busey for a personalized approach to your legacy. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini, member FDIC.
Elegance Underneath is the solution to all your brass shopping needs. I'm Dawn Clutta, the owner of Elegance Underneath in Naperville, and for over 16 years, we've been serving women of all shapes and sizes who just want a great fitting, beautiful, and comfortable bra. Do you wear a hard-to-fit size? At Elegance Underneath, we stock band sizes 28 to 54 and A through O cup. We carry the latest colors,
like making my kids my famous meatballs mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
High school football on 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach, the Hall of Famer, the multi-Hall of Famer, Joe Rodagero, Evan Bredesen, and Dominic joining us. Good to see you. It's been a little while since we've seen him, and glad to be on board. And Evan, one more guy we can harass every Thursday night, so it's all good. All right, speaking of harassment, we're going to go out in the phone lines and be joined by I'll call him an old friend, I guess. We're getting older by the day. By the way, I'm sure he's going to want to know this final score. Hey, Troy, I got a final score for you. You ready?
Everybody's waiting.
Yeah, ready for it.
Kennedy 17, Ag Science 8. Final.
Boy, that's going to mess up the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, I think that's actually a little bit of an upset. That's nice.
See? And it scares me. It scares me a little bit that you know that. But this is Troy McAllister. Obviously, he was a longtime head coach at Chicago Phillips. Led them to the Public League's first state title. And, oh, yeah, he's over at Sandburg and doing some good things. Hello, my friend. How are you? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Hey, guys. Good to hear from you.
Well, glad to have you on board. Like it or not, you are our game of the week tomorrow night. So you will be on the road at Lincoln Way Central taking on the Knights. And, you know, you've been around a few times now. So you got a feel and you got a handle for the area. And, you know, anytime you go into a Lincoln Way, you're going to have a ball game on your hands.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. Anytime you play any of the Lincoln Ways, it's going to be a physical ball game. And Central's that way this year. Last year with Coach Woodburn taking over, you could notice a big difference. And obviously they made the second round of the playoffs in his first year. And he's got them rolling again this year.
You know, we were talking off air a little bit with Joe and I had mentioned to Joe, and I think Joe kind of agreed with me, and love to know your thought. Is it me, or does it seem like you're starting to maybe the program's starting to turn the corner a little bit? Your program.
Yeah. This is kind of our fourth year here, and you kind of feel like this is the group of freshmen we've had from the start, and we're starting to feel the difference, not only just in our results on the field, but just overall in general within our program, within our school, within our community. You can feel the pride growing for the Sandburg Eagles. Is there any one part of that turnaround process to get things on track that generally takes the longest, or does it just depend on the situation that you kind of walk into? I think it's just getting the young men to believe in themselves. So I think there's always confidence, but it's getting them to truly believe deep down that they deserve to be there, they deserve to win. And they now they're learning to do that and then earn it along the way.
Coach, I'm the guy who bothered you for the statistics and stuff like that.
Yeah, Joe, you're kind of a pain in the butt, you know, let's be honest.
But I do appreciate it, even though for some reason I could not run the roster off, but I got that taken care of. My son-in-law and my daughter both are at Sandburg, so I got a hold of him and he took care of it for me. So but thank you very much anyway. For that stuff. And as I was talking to Edgy, it seemed like when you first got there, you know, I mean, you'd always come up and you beat Lincoln Way East one year, and you kind of bit them a little bit in the butt, and then you kind of slide down. So I think this progression, and I told the people that always talked about you coming over there and, you know, and stuff. I said, give the guy some time. He's a winner. I said, he won the first Public League state championship. I said, he's a good coach. So kudos to you and your staff and how you're going now at 4-1 right now. Your quarterback, Anthony Shelton, pretty good after 5 games, 15 touchdown passes and over 1,000 yards passing. Talk about him a little bit.
He's in his 3rd year starting for us. He kind of got thrown to the wolves his sophomore year. Our starter got injured week 2 for the season, and Anthony had to jump in and play. And I'll say it, and he'll say it. He wasn't quite ready, but we found a way to help him grow and mature, and he really bought in and perfected his craft through the last couple of years. And his maturation process has been tremendous to watch. And now when we get into big ball games, he's an emotional player, but he has this ability to respond. And it's developed within him over time. And he knows the offense, he knows the system, and he has a great way of just leading a program. One of the big things we talked about in the offseason with him was, I don't want the players to follow QB1. I want them to follow Anthony Shelton. Mm-hmm. He's really embraced that, and it really hit home with him, and he's really taken his leadership role to a whole new level.
I know everyone that I know that gets a chance to see you guys to talk about the size up front, O-line, just, and again, it's something you're blessed with when it walks in the building, but talk about this group in particular. I know Matt Merrick, obviously, I know from recruiting circles, who's already committed, but talk about some of those guys up front.
Yeah, obviously you got Matt Merrick. He's committed to Indiana, another 3-year starter for us. He's just a great young man, and he's really filled out. And as a senior, and it's impressive to see him physically. The hard work he's put in is really paying off for him, and he's in a great place for us. And then left guard, we've got Luke Zerwinski, another senior. We moved him he played center for us last year, and we moved him to guard. What a difference maker he has been for us. He is a physical young man, tough young man. He loves the contact in the game, and it just makes such a big difference. And then obviously at right tackle, we've got a young sophomore, Cade Kohler, who's kind of the next in line.
Yeah.
And we're playing him early, but he's bigger than Merrick, and he's got a chance to be a great one.
Coach, and I'm going to ask you this because I am doing the game, and I'm sure the young man will catch a few passes tomorrow night. and I was writing the names down. How do you pronounce Lucas's last name?
Lucas Medikevich.
Medikevich. Okay.
And I might even be saying it wrong.
Nice.
That's okay.
Nice.
If people complain, I'll say, go talk to the coach.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of the receivers, I mean, you have, 4 guys over 100 yards, and it looks like Mr. Shelton kind of distributes the ball pretty evenly. I know Snorek is the main dude out there with 7 touchdowns, but knowing that you got 3 or 4 other guys that can catch the ball for you has got to be a plus.
Yeah, the development of that group's been great for us. Obviously, Charlie's the main guy, but teams start doing some different things with him. And we really need those other guys to step up, and not only them stepping up and Anthony trusting them. And you get a young guy like Lucas, who's another sophomore, who's physically gifted. And then the last few weeks, he's really started to embrace his role within the program and understand that he has a chance to be really good and he can make plays. And when he's not making plays, he's starting to buy into all the components of being a receiver, blocking on the outside, running off routes to clear space for another guy. And he does it all really well at a high level. And this is only his 2nd year playing football.
Wow.
So it's great to see when you get somebody like that.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, I'm going to ask you what I asked Coach Woodburn when we had him on before you. As far as the conference is concerned this year, I mean, I've talked to quite a few of the coaches, obviously you guys, plus some of the former DVC head coaches. I'd love to say that, there's some griping and moaning and complaining. Coach, there really hasn't been any. It seems like for what it seems to be working. At least that's kind of what I'm getting. What are your thoughts on the alignment so far?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think there's a little bit of trial and error this year.
Right.
But overall, there's no complaints. We miss having our traditional rivalries with East and with Lockport, but those are going to come back.
Right.
The alignment changes again next year. But for this year, it's great. I don't like having on the road to Naperville Central and North in back-to-back weeks to end the season.
It's no fun.
Yeah.
But it's kind of how the computer spit out the schedule. It wasn't like it was done purposely. It's just the way the computer, the randomness of the schedule worked. But other than that, yeah, it's been nice. You know, we got to play West in the conference this year, and that was a nice challenge. They're doing great things. And then obviously getting a crossover game with Central, who's in the bottom part of the conference, but they are not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no doubt. Well, let me ask you. I mean, you go back and obviously two completely different situations when you were at Phillips as far as dealing with regular season. As you well know, you got a game or two in the public league as a test, and then you were trying to get to 40 points pretty quick and letting the reserves go in. Not quite so much now over at Sandburg in the conference that you're in. When you get into the postseason, can you feel the difference from that schedule if you're really, really pushed or maybe not quite as pushed?
Absolutely. I think that was always one of our biggest challenges at
Right.
Phillips. We would go as big as we could get in week 1 and week 2. And we had a string of years, I don't know how many, where we never lost a conference game. And a lot were big scores. So you get nervous come playoff time because you haven't been, yes, you were week 1 and 2, you were absolutely tested, but that's 7-8 weeks between ball game that really pushed you physically. And even getting, like you said, kids getting pulled at halftime. So they're the conditioning component of it, like they're not used to playing a full game. And now at Sandburg, it's a lot different because we're in a ball game every single week.
Yeah.
And it's a great challenge, not only for our program, for me individually. The game plan each week, you got to be on it. If you don't game plan right, you're going to lose. And it's that simple. And that's why for us, it's been great this year. I do like to have a challenging game up front in your non-conference because I just think you need to be punched. You need to be punched in the mouth before you get to conference. And us getting Rita week 1, and we were up at halftime and lost the game, and we got punched in the mouth. But as we got, the biggest thing I saw was when we played HF, we were ready. Like our kids, you could just see, like, it didn't matter what they did. We responded to everything they did, and it made such a big difference having a challenge early in the year.
Yeah, Edgy and I, Troy, talk after he goes, up north or wherever he goes, and we just specifically talked about that. I go, man, I said, Sandburg, after being 1-1 going up against, and everybody was talking about Homewood Flossmoor, really good, and then you guys kind of waxed them. I know the game probably didn't. It wasn't like, but I mean, the score just absolutely jumped out at me. And I'm going to go into talk about your defense a little bit because up until that first game loss against St. Rita, the defense looks like it's been pretty sound.
And that loss to Rita looks better and better every week,
yes,
by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously with Coach Flynn is now in his second year here as defensive coordinator, and he makes a huge difference. His attention to detail is tremendous. And the Rita game, we shut them out in the first half, and then just kind of multitude of factors, some cramping, some injuries, and I think at one time we were 5 starters were out on defense, and wow. Just those guys don't get the reps the same, and we just kind of lost it for about a quarter of that game. But ever since then, our defense has responded tremendously. We play physical. Like up front, our defensive line does an amazing job of playing physical, controlling the run, controlling the gaps, let our linebackers roam around. And then our back end's pretty talented. We have 2 corners who I would probably match up with just about anybody in the state, and Vincent Smith and Quinn Birkin. They're 2 special athletes and great football players.
Do you imagine that? A kid with a last name of Durkin on the south suburbs, huh? There's a shocker. Who would have thought you'd see that, huh? Hey, real quick before I cut you loose, are your kids like driving now or what?
No, my son is 7 and my daughter's 4.
Okay. Just want to make sure life hasn't completely passed me by. So that's good to know. So they're still relatively young, but hey, want to thank you for coming on. Like I said, I know you've got stuff going on with your family and everything, but it's always good to talk to you. And again, I definitely will stay in touch. And who knows, I might even show up someday on your doorstep to cover a game. Just never know.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and we'd love to have you down, Edgy and Joe. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
All right, Troy.
All right,
Good luck.
Troy. Thanks.
All right, see you guys.
All right. Troy McAllister from Sandburg joining us. And again, Joe, there's a guy that just I've rooted for him since he was at Phillips, because he's a guy that, you heard him, very, very kind of mellow, kind of laid back, but tell you what, guy definitely knows what he's doing.
Yes.
And the way he got that Phillips program clicking, and it, Joe, as you all know, it was a hell of a lot more than just football. It was everything that he got changed. He got attitudes changed.
Yep.
He got kids buying in. He had kids going to class, and it was an amazing story, and was able to pull it off. And I think he's going to continue to do some really good things over at Sandburg. And like you said, give him a chance, because he knows what he's doing.
Because I know in the first year, especially maybe first year or two, there was some grumblings and stuff like that.
He's an out of the building hire.
Right.
That happens everywhere.
Yep.
We've seen it.
Yep.
We've seen it
I'm
all
not
over.
going to go into vast details, but I told a couple people over there that I know pretty well. I said, give that guy a chance. He is a winner. He knows how to win, and just give him some time, and it's coming to fruition right now.
So again, that is the game of the week. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock kickoff. Friday Night Lights at 6:05 with Tony, and then game of the week, 7 o'clock kickoff. Sandburg at Lincoln Way East with Evan Bredesen, Joe, the Hall of Famer, Rodagero, and Talking Dave Dwyer on the call.
Talking heads.
So, all right, let's step aside, and actually we got a minute or so. Let's we're going to have Rob Zavonar joining us at 6:45. And again, just to let everybody know, we're guest intensive the first hour. It just kind of works out that way sometimes. So we definitely fully want to hear from you guys right at the top of the hour after 7 o'clock break. So we'll definitely have time set aside. We're also going to have Steve Susi on at about 7:25, and he's out working his pre-playoff magic, and we'll dig into that a little bit.
He'll take over the last 35 minutes of the show.
Yeah, it's all good. I got no problem with it.
The Wizard?
You know what, Joe? You know what's really nice, Joe? When the phones work.
Exactly.
Isn't that nice?
It's something.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
I called Alexander Graham Bell, and he said, "Oh, he'll take."
Well, I knew he was a friend of yours. Didn't you go to school with him, or?
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. I again, that was a rough show. It was rough.
We had a lot of people listening to us.
We had a lot. I think we had more listening to us last week than this week. It's kind of weird, but it's okay. We've got our people out there. Hello to everybody streaming and watching us live on YouTube. Yep. Great to have you. And a lot of comments from everybody, so we always appreciate that.
And Alex,
love to talk back and forth. All right, we'll step aside and take a break. When we come back, the coach of the Lincoln Way East Griffins, the #1 ranked Griffins, Rob Zavonar, will join us, and we'll have a little fun with Rob. You're listening to the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk Sports.
Facing a pediatric serious illness takes over the entire family's life. And that's where Lightway's hospice and serious illness care makes all the difference. Lightway's works closely with your pediatric primary doctor or a hospice doctor, usually with in-home care and benefits that includes symptom management with medication and equipment. But Lightway's pediatric care goes much further for the entire family, to include respite care and access to child life therapy, social work, music therapy, chaplains, and so much more. Lightways is the only nonprofit hospice provider in Northern Illinois to provide these services. Give your family the pediatric support you need, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Call Lightways today at 815-740-4104 or go online to lightways.org. That's lightways.org. Lightways Hospice and Serious Illness Care. Through darkness, we bring light.
I'm Dr. Lowell Steen, Chief of Cardiology at Loyola University Medical Center, with Ira Antelis, founder of 120 Life, a drink that supports healthy blood pressure.
It's great to be here, literally, because I almost wasn't. 5 years ago, I got a terrifying warning from my doctor that my blood pressure was off the charts.
That must have really shaken you.
It did, but I knew there had to be a natural way to lower my blood pressure. So I developed 120 Life, a juice blend to help lower blood pressure.
How much did your blood pressure drop?
In 2 weeks, it dropped 30 points.
That's remarkable. And no side effects?
None. It's all natural superfruits and key minerals, and it's helped thousands of customers lower their blood pressure.
Where can you get 120 Life?
Just go to 120life.com, that's 120life.com, and use the code JUICE for 15% off. If your numbers don't improve, I'll send your money back.
So you really have nothing to lose. Take control of your blood pressure today by visiting 120life.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Keeping you comfortable in your home all year round is our first priority. Hi, this is Rick Cronholm, president of Johansson & Anderson Heating and Air Conditioning. We also like to prevent emergency issues from ever happening. No one wants a broken furnace on the coldest night of the year or an air conditioning that gives up on the hottest day. That's why more and more Johansson & Anderson customers are taking advantage of our Comfort Club. Your furnace and AC are scheduled and checked before their season, kind of like a regular dental appointment. And we keep your whole system in top running condition all year long. Of course, if some emergency does happen, our Comfort Club members get priority service and discounted repairs, even if it is the hottest day of the year. If your family's home needs heating and air conditioning, call the name you can trust for 75 years, Johansson & Anderson. Call J&A today, sleep tight tonight. Johansson & Anderson, a York certified comfort expert.
Providing comfort all year round. Johansson & Anderson.
Metro Grill and Bar in Joliet is everyone's favorite for delicious lunch and dinner, like daily homemade soups, unique sandwiches, famous roasted chicken, pastas, and more. Walk beyond the front of the restaurant and discover a warm, cozy bar with luxurious leather chairs, soft lighting, handcrafted cocktails, and wine specials. It's perfect for girls' night out, cocktails with business professionals, or date night. Metro Grill and Bar near the corner of Fide and Essington Roads in Joliet. Now offering online ordering. Visit metrojoliet.com for delivery or pickup. That's metrojoliet.com.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL. Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach, Joe Rodagero, Evan Bredesen spinning the dials. And this edition and every edition of Pigskin Preview brought to you by our great State Farm agents, Kevin Malloy in New Lenox and John Wright in Joliet. Like a good neighbor, Joe.
State Farm is there.
And we are trying to get hooked up right now with Rob Zavonar from Lincoln Way East. We are hopefully able to connect with him in a few minutes. And again, we will hopefully talk a little Lincoln Way East Griffins football, Joe, because, well, there's a whole lot to talk about. They're playing really, really, really well.
Yeah, they are. They're hitting on all cylinders.
By the way, always great to see our fans out there and our good guy, our good buddy, Nate Turner out there. Loves your hat, Joe.
Thank you, Nate.
See, he knows.
Roberto Clemente was my idol. That's why I wore number 21.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt about it. One of the great ones, and there's no doubt about it. So, all right, we're good. We're going out to the phone lines, joined by the head coach of your Lincoln Way East Griffins, Rob Zavonar. Coach, welcome aboard.
Oh man, I know we just only started Joliet, but it's been a little too long since we chatted. Great getting on the line with you guys tonight, and thank you for continuing to be such. Real quick, every college team has a bye week, right? So I reached out to good friends in the coaching profession and the collegiate level, spoke a little bit with them. And, it was kind of crazy because, we grind pretty good in the summer. You got to kind of, whatever they call two-a-days these days. We had an unbelievable tough prep week for Maine South. So, from a standpoint of, maybe catching a breath and not being on a bus Saturday in East St. Louis, it wasn't the feeling of being upset not playing wasn't quite there. We were able to kind of bond and let kids go on a Saturday and go to a college football game or do this and that. We came back, so we got done Friday night Maine South. I'll just take you through it real quick. We gave them Saturday and Sunday off, which we always do Sundays, not usually Saturdays. And we came in Monday through Thursday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we were short, but we competed against each other. And you guys, without saying this with any type of ego or arrogance, a Lincoln Way defense can get better playing against Jonas Williams and crew for 3 days, right?
Yeah.
So, and hopefully they felt the same about us. So we were smart, and we went back to kind of a June camp schedule. We weren't in there too long, and then we broke Thursday with a little. We had the hot dog trucks out to the stadium at 5 o'clock Thursday, and we said see you Monday. So, just in a nutshell, we dealt with it. It was good, and we came back and played pretty good football since then.
Rob, everybody knows about Jonas. I mean, he's a remarkable athlete, spins the ball very well. Edgy and I talked at length after the first game against Maine South, and we both agreed on this, and I'm sure he's gotten better as the season progressed, but just kind of getting in sync with the receivers. You could tell in the first game a little bit, even though you have camp and you have the 7-on-7s, but when you get into a game, it tends to maybe be a little bit off. But it sounds like that the receivers in Jonas has really kind of gotten together, and he's used to them and they're used to him.
Sure, and I don't think it was atypical of any other week one or any other team. It's just it is what it is when you go and compete against the caliber of a team against Maine South, and it's the first week of the season. So I totally agree with you. He'll tell you he didn't make every right decision. The receivers didn't do everything perfect, but we're pretty deep at receiver. We rotate guys in and out, and he has developed a remarkable rapport with each and every one of the 6, 7, 8 kids that go in there and catch footballs for him. So it's been a blessing to have him. You mentioned the on the field stuff, which everybody is aware of, but what is so special about that young man is the character and the leadership and the fierce competitiveness with humility off the field. And it's just been a pleasure each day to be with him. And then what was remarkable the other night, guys, everybody in the state, when they were going north, was running the ball or throwing short passes, and you would have had no idea Friday night which way the wind was blowing with him, because he was throwing strikes and dimes into a 25-mile-per-hour wind.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Thing to see. So, and he doesn't want me sitting there talking about him. He wants the credit deflected to his teammates, because that's the kind of kid he is. So the running backs, receivers, the O-line are doing great. We're hanging in there on defense, and we're just trying to take it not a week at a time, but literally a day at a time, because, we haven't, we got a long way to go, and we're just trying to it's coach speak, but we really are just trying to be better today than we were yesterday, and better tomorrow than we were today.
I'm going to piggyback on that with him talking about the other players in offense. Looking at the stats, remarkably, in my eyes, the number of passes that he has thrown, he's only been sacked once. And that is a credit to the offensive line and the backs.
That is, but we also got a little bit of a Vince Young thing going. If you recall, 2005, Texas' best play was when he dropped back and everybody was covered. You know what I'm saying? So Jonas also is elusive and creates that, but that is absolutely correct. The O-line is doing tremendous. Just a workman-like, no-name tough group in there with our seniors, Anthony Revo and Max Chalpy and Tyler Nolan, and the list there, goes on and on. And we're proud up front, defensively, it starts with our D-line, and then they make us a lot better in the back seven because of bookends like Jacob Alexander and Caden O'Rourke, who are Power 4 kids, and our D tackles are pretty special kids in their own right, and Gage Ladier and Mike Jumlo. So we're hanging in there defensively. The one thing that we've got to be careful of is HF did a great job the other night. Their first 2 drives, 15-play drive, 12-play drive, So they're out there for 27 plays offensively in the
Yeah.
first quarter,
Yep.
and that's taking away opportunities from our offense. So we can't stop our own offense by having them sitting on the bench, So that's a key to our season this year, is to get them possessions and not have to be on the field too long on defense.
But that doesn't happen too often. It did happen in the HF game, but I mean, the defense has been outstanding as the season has progressed. I mean, 325 total. Yeah, I mean that's to me ridiculous. So you're right though. There's going to be some times where the defense is going to be out there, and you don't want that. You want that ball in that offensive hands to score points.
Yeah, and we know that, and we knew coming in the year the offense was the going to be more experienced group, the more talented group. You're talking about a Mac tailback and Zion, and then you back him up with a Brody Gish, who's been amazing as junior. The tight end, whatever, his mother's a pretty good lady.
Thank God. Thank God.
Thank goodness. And then, our receivers with our seniors with Christian Renblake, Talon White's been incredible, MJ Schley, Keegan Ruane, and Luke Vetter. And we just, I know I'm missing someone, and I hate doing that, but it's just been a remarkable group of offensive skills. We're not talking about best ever yet, but Jonas did break the school record for touchdown passes with 6 the other night, and he's not doing that with average kids at those skill spots. So they're a special group as well that we're awful proud of. And again, just it's a day at a time in our camp. Nobody gets. We talk about microscopic versus telescopic, and you're not allowed to be telescopic. You don't get to look a long way away. You got to keep it right now.
Yep.
And all we're doing right now is getting home, brushing up on our special teams films, getting to sleep, getting nutrition, and be back tomorrow for game day up in the Valley.
A couple of things before we cut you loose, and again, I always appreciate you joining us as always. We've asked the first two coaches we had on so far tonight, and we'll ask you as well. What's your take on the conference alignment this year? Because Z, we've talked to just about all of them, and I haven't heard a lot of gripes or complaining. And that's pretty rare for that group. So, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, as far as the merger, is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed because I've just kind of been looking at who we play next, and I'm not being facetious or making light of your question. I think I read last week what the name of the conference was. I just knew that we were going to play really, really good teams from Naperville, and we were going to have a really good schedule to, this year. And as it unfolds, that's been 100% the truth. And those men have been longtime friends of mine. When you talk about Mike up in Naperville Central and Sean Drendel, I feel like he's half a brother to me and all that. So it's been just fine. You don't usually play those teams that we play. They're non-con or in the playoffs. Now we're going to see them regularly. I think I just read in the newspaper even next year it's changing. They're a little different. So I'm not acting ignorant on purpose. I just knew who we were going to play, and I can't even hardly tell you who's on our blue or red, or I don't even know how they broke up or what they're calling the divisions. I know it's 3 this year and 2 next year. And it's been great, and it's great because they're great people and they're great programs, and you always want that. And I loved our old schedule too. Mike Cole gave us fits down at Bradley. I don't think we're going to play Andrew next year, but Coach Lou's awesome and got a hell of a squad this year. And I don't know. I just love playing everybody in a certain way. And just seeing new faces when we need to. And, Dave and Sarah and I go back a long way, and I don't know who we're playing week 2 next year, but I hope it's not a bye, and all that.
Well, we'll do the best we can to find you a proper opponent.
Yes.
So we'll get on that.
BYU school.
I have a feeling Mr. Vandercoil will make sure it was to no fault of his, man. He worked his tail off nationwide to find a game.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's already he's probably working on that.
There's
telling me what's going on yet, but that's okay.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The one thing I want to ask before we cut you loose, and it's bad enough when you got one kid on your team.
Oh my goodness!
Now you got 3. So and they're all starting. So how's that gone? God bless your wife, because I mean, and I know Mrs. Z a little bit. I always get a chance to talk to Mrs. Z on the sidelines, and she's about as cranked up as you are game day. So
yeah, you talk about being fortunate to have somebody that's all in like that, and by far the best athlete in the family. You know, and she certainly. All you got to do is look at the inseam on our, who's got the long legs, who played Division I, who played Division III. It ain't hard to figure that out, right? The amazing volleyball player
how's it
out of
gone?
Tinley Park, Andrew, and down to Illinois State, and took on the D3 Wesleyan guys. So just a blessing to have her, and then just you talk about a boy mom, man. There's no question who's running it, and good cop, bad cop. She keeps us all in line. She's raising, 4 boys, the 3 boys and me, and she does a great job, and we're blessed to have her. The boys are doing fine. I appreciate you bringing those guys up, and we're trying to enjoy that part of it too, but they understand that it's coach and it's dad, and we're going to keep working our tails off, and they've hung in there and played okay. And we get a little sentimental and emotional around our house because Trey's leaving to Miami as an early guy, so he's only in my roof and under my roof for till January. But whatever, we're again just enjoying it all, and them being there together obviously is special. And we're just too much of a competitor to sit back and be
here
nostalgic. But it's been great. I appreciate it.
So here's what we're gonna do after week 14. We're gonna get you in here, and we're gonna bring the boys in here. And then I'm going to get the real story from the boys.
Yeah, we'll be blessed to have you. And, after that, I'm just going to take I'll just take the whatever off and filter off and let them loose on me.
Take the punishment and grin at it. Take it and like it.
No, trust me, it'd be well earned. They get to cut loose on me, Dad. That's okay.
All right, pal. Good luck.
Good luck.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Appreciate you again.
All right. Rob Zavonar joining us. All right. Hour 1 in the books. This is the week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Don't go away. Come back. 7 o'clock hour next.
From the Abri Credit Union Studio, this is Will County's News Talk Sports. WJOL, Joliet.
Hi, this is Kathy Carosa from the Pocas on Tour radio show. Bruce and I would like you to join us every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., right here on WJOL 1340 a.m. Will County's News, Talk, and Sports.
Will County's News Talk Sports, 1340.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. A mixed verdict for Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith, the 3 Memphis police facing federal civil rights charges in connection with the beating death of Tyree Nichols in January of last year. ABC's Stephanie Ramos was in the courtroom when the verdicts came down.
All 3 former Memphis police officers convicted of obstruction, but only one former officer, Demetrius Haley, was also convicted of violating Nichols' civil rights, causing bodily injury.
Civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump represents the Nichols family.
The jury found all of them in some way participated in a crime, and that Tyree Nichols' death won't go unaccounted for. That is critical.
The U.S. port strike is now suspended. The International Longshoremen's Association and the U.S. Maritime Alliance say a tentative agreement was reached on wages and extending the master contract through the middle of January. Outside the White House tonight, President Biden weighed in.
Dock workers are going back to work, and the next 90 days we're going to settle everything.
Vice President Kamala Harris campaigning in Wisconsin today alongside a key Republican. Former Congresswoman Liz Cheney appeared with Harris in the city of Ripon and called for putting patriotism ahead of partisanship.
I have never voted for a Democrat, but this year I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Former President Trump, meanwhile, was in Michigan urging his supporters to take advantage of mail-in voting, despite casting doubt on the practice in the lead up to the last election in 2020.
33 days from now, we are going to win the state of Michigan.
Election day, as he said, just over a month away now, with early voting already underway in some states. You're listening to ABC News.
My weekends are priceless. I don't want to miss a minute. Not mowing, not garage cleaning, and certainly not risking my neck teetering on a ladder cleaning muck out of the gutters. So imagine the thrill when I discovered the Leaf Filter, a beautiful solution that totally prevents the problem. The Leaf Filter's award-winning patented technology leaves no openings for debris. Nothing gets through but water. Gutters stay clean and efficient with zero effort, and every installation comes with free inspection, estimate, and lifetime guarantee. Plus, your Leaf Filter trusted pro will clean out, realign, and seal your gutters before installing Leaf Filter. DIY might seem tempting till you're replacing or repairing it. So get it right from go. Protect your home and never clean out gutters again with Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system. Schedule your free inspection and get up to 30% off your entire purchase at leaffilter.com/listen. A free inspection and up to 30% off at leaffilter.com/listen.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior and military discount. 1 discount per household.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, especially behind the scenes at major retailers like Amazon, Target, and Walmart, which are ramping up holiday hiring. Amazon says it plans to hire 250,000 seasonal workers, the same as last year. Walmart says it's been hiring all year and will tap those resources for the last quarter. Outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas expects retailers to add 520,000 new jobs. Anyone who bought gas in Southern California almost a decade ago might be owed money.
You don't have to live in California, but if you bought gas in Southern California between February 20th and November 10th of 2015, California Attorney General Rob Bonta says you can file a claim online to get part of a settlement with gas trading firms for tampering with and manipulating prices for California gasoline. California routinely has the nation's most expensive gas by far, but now trading firms have agreed to pay out $50 million to settle an antitrust lawsuit accusing them of colluding to manipulate spot market prices. Claims can be made online. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
For the 5th time in just 1 year, Tesla is recalling 27,000 Cybertrucks. At issue this time is the rear view camera, which may not activate after shifting into reverse. Tesla has released a free software upgrade. I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, high school football fans. We are happy to announce this week's Malloy State Farm and Pigskin Preview Player of the Week. We would like to congratulate Lincoln Way Central's senior running back, Tyler Telk, who had 34 carries for 241 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Knights' 28-6 victory over Bradley Bourbonnais. Tyler and his parents will join us, along with Coach Chalmers, on December 8th at the award ceremony at Gatto's in New Lenox, sponsored by Frank Gatto, a great partner to this program.
A part of our community's rich tradition, St. Peter Evangelical Lutheran Church at 310 North Broadway Street in Joliet has been sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ for over 165 years and has the nation's longest-running continuous Sunday morning broadcast beginning in 1926. Reverend David Totsky, pastor of St. Peter's, invites you to join them in worship every Sunday for their divine service in person at 9 a.m. or on their radio broadcast at 11 a.m. here on 1340 WJOL.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelty. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelty can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelty?
Just send them a text.
Text REACH to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text REACH to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text REACH to 200-300. That's REACH to 200-300. REACH to 200-300.
Official rules for WJOL AM 1340. No purchase is necessary. All contestants must be at least 18 years or older to participate unless specified in contest rules. All state and local, federal, and other taxes and other fees for prizes awarded are the sole responsibility of the winner. Prizes valued over $600 will be issued an IRS 1099 form to report their winnings. All prizes are awarded as is. All entrants and winners agree that the station Alpha Media LLC and their affiliates shall have no liability and shall be held blameless for any injury or misfortune or damage to any person or property insured by entering, participating in, winning, or losing any contest by use or non-use of any received. All entrants and winners agree that the station may broadcast or publish their name, city of residence, photo, videotape, film, or any other likeness, including their voice, recorded or live for any reason the station deems necessary without compensation. The radio station reserves the right to change the rules for any contest at any time without notice and limit the number of times an individual may enter a contest or drawing. The radio station will not be responsible for busy lines, disconnections, poor connections, computer malfunctions, lost, late, or misdirected emails, faxes, or mail, or any other circumstances. Get a full list of rules at WJOL.com.
High school football on 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Edgy Tim, along with the coach, Joe Rodagaro, and Evan Bredesen spinning the dials, joining you tonight, and we'll be here for the next hour. And we're going to break down some games, and we're going to open up the phone lines at 815-254-7300. Steve Susi joins us in the 725 portion of the show. Joe is counting for some reason. Not exactly sure what he's doing, but that's okay. Joe, you have your ways and your methods, and I'll never get in the middle of that. So welcome back, everybody. This edition and every gosh darn single edition of Pigskin Preview brought to you by our tremendous State Farm agents, John Wright in Joliet and Kevin Malloy in New Lenox. Like a good neighbor, Hall of Fame, Joe Rodagaro.
State Farm is there.
And again, our schedule is as follows. Friday Night Lights tomorrow night at 6:05 with our good guy Tony running the show. And then 7 o'clock kickoff, Sandburg at Lincoln Way Central. Hour number 1, we had the head coaches on from both Sandburg and Lincoln Way Central, along with Rob Zavonar from Lincoln Way East. If you missed that, you can always go back on the YouTube channel, Edgy Tim channel, and we archive everything, so you can go back and watch it and get caught up and all that good stuff. And
yes,
someday, if I'm not lazy, I'll start cutting them up and put them out in shorter clips for everybody. But I've been a little busy and a little
busy during the high school football season.
By the way, on the call tomorrow night will be Evan Bredesen on the play-by-play, Joe Rodagaro with the only kind of color he knows how to bring, and Talking Dave Dwyer is back, so you'll be able to hear Dave, and the tripod is back in full effect tomorrow evening. Joe, I know that last week you did a Saturday game. You had a little Hall of Fame business to take care of Friday.
Yes.
You were back on the air Saturday. Look at you, getting right back in the swing of things.
Back in the saddle. Yeah.
Joliet West, Joliet Central.
Yeah, Scott and I did the Central West game, and I'm gonna be frank and honest. It really was a sloppy game, I thought, on both sides. Joliet Central just had a hard time moving the football. Joliet West took advantage of some turnovers. Their first touchdown, Mike intercepted the pass and went in for a touchdown. They turned the ball over twice inside the Joliet Central 10-yard line. But defensively, they were okay. Offensively, I think they've got a long way to go. And I talked to both coaches before because we had we didn't have any telephones the night before or on Thursday. And
don't remind us.
Coach Tito told me they're pretty banged up. So
yeah,
they're starting to get guys back in and stuff. And defensively, they were solid. They just overwhelmed Joliet Central.
Yeah,
they just overwhelmed them. Coach Hart's doing the best job he can. Guy's a good guy, good coach.
Unfortunately, it's been this way for a while, and Joe, I don't know how you overcome it. I don't know what the answer is, honestly.
And Scott, and I didn't write this. I did write it down, but of course, I don't have that notepad with me. I think he said since they went back to 2 separate teams, Joliet Central's in that 2010 only won 6 games, and I think that's Brett Boyder.
I think at least half, if not more than half, was Brett Boyder.
Yes,
has to be, because the one year they were 3-6, I think.
Yes, they were.
So there's 3 out of the 6 wins right there. Yeah, again, and believe it or not, we've been here doing this long enough to remember the merge and then the split, split, then the merge, then the split. I'm not a big fan of the co-op for 2 schools that are the size that they are. I get it if you're 200, 300 kids school, but it creates opportunities. Having separate programs creates opportunities for coaches, for players, for athletes. Not in favor of merging, but Joe, you've got to find an answer in football.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is. 815-254-7300. If you've got answers regarding, it's funny. Evan just broke this out for us. 5 of the wins were Coach Boyder. 1 was Fred Gandy. And Fred Gandy, I believe, is over at Thornton Township now, and he's got another rebuild project on his hands.
And Scott brought that up during the broadcast as far as putting the 2 teams back together, because the good when Joliet football was really good, that's when they were combined. They had the Xander kid at coordinator.
Yeah, and Oku Satcher, I remember that team for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's go out into the phone lines. Joining us, Greg, our guy, Greg from Tinley. Good evening, Greg. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good to talk with you guys again.
Yeah, sorry. We try to keep that first hour open, but sometimes it just doesn't align with the coaches. So trust me, we're not doing it purposely. It's just kind of how it works.
That was a problem.
That was a great first hour. I enjoyed that. I'm going to that Sandburg Central game tomorrow night, so I enjoyed that. And, of course, Coach Z, anytime you have him, he's great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something about him because I've been to all the East games this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have put 50, 70 points.
Oh, we know that, Greg.
He doesn't do it.
No.
That's not his style. That's not his style, Greg.
Yeah, I know. And there's a lot of guys I wish around here would take his nod and learn from it, because you're not proving anything by putting big points up.
No, I agree. It's something that we've talked about, Joe. We've talked about off the air.
This, yep.
And Joe, this is I got a Hall of Fame coach next to me. I mean, if you're running your offense, your base offense to a point, okay. You get a 40-point lead, Joe. You're running dive football and just literally running in between the tackles.
Yeah,
it's not
and you
that
use
hard.
all the clock too, which is what Coach Z does.
Yep.
So, kudos to him. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the last 2 games he played, because I'll tell you what, I think Naperville North and Homewood Flossmoor are playoff teams.
Yeah, they are.
And,
they are.
Yeah. But you gotta think first about that Lincoln Way East offense. It's a different animal.
Well, what's interesting, and we talked about it, and Greg, it's very simple. East has never had this kind of dimension at quarterback, and that's to me the big difference.
No.
They've had running games, they've had line play, they've had very good defense every year, but this dimension that Jonas brings, very rare.
He made a play last week that I have never seen a high school quarterback make.
Yep.
He's right-handed, right?
Yep.
He rolls to his left.
Yep. Throws across his body. Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Straightens himself out just before he gets to the sideline and throws a 25-yard strike
And
right on the money.
And I will tell you, Greg, and again, I am being completely honest in this. He's as good of a kid off the field as he is on the field. Truly, and again, it starts at home. And I give Jonas's parents all the credit in the world. Kid's got his head on right.
He's with the right program. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
They are a class act.
I tell you what.
That's one of the reasons why I love going to their games. They're class.
What's
kids.
interesting, guys, no one, and again, from an area perspective, we have a tremendous Week 9 game on the schedule, which is Joliet Catholic Providence. It's pretty hard to ignore in this area. But no one, and again, I know we're a few weeks down the road. No one's talking about Lincoln Way East and Naperville Central possibly meeting Week 9, both undefeated. Could very well happen.
Yep.
And that's a good Naperville Central team.
Naperville North played Naperville Central very close. I think it was 23-20.
Yep.
And Naperville North has 3 receivers that I put against anybody.
Quinn Morris, who was at Plainfield East until this summer, he transferred to Naperville North. And then he has 2 other receivers that are like FCS level receivers that are very good players. So they do. And Jacob Bell's a tremendous quarterback. He's committed to Ball State and still getting recruited by other schools. So it's a great call on your part there, Greg. No doubt about it.
You know what? They don't care if they're covered. They go take the ball away from the defensive back. That's what they did to Central to beat them. And then they did it again the next week to East. So they made believers out of me.
It's funny too. You talk about this game of the week tomorrow night, Joe, and you talk about Sandburg and Lincoln Way Central. I think Lincoln Way Central, I automatically think Lincoln Way because that's what it was before it was Central. Right. It was Lincoln Way. And I think of Sandburg, and I think Corey Paws on Lincoln Way, and I think what's his name on Sandburg? Kustak.
Yeah, Jake Kustak. Yeah.
There were some good quarterback play in those eras as well.
Yes, there was.
No doubt.
Kustak was a good quarterback. Yeah.
But that was a huge rivalry. That was a huge rivalry game when it was Lincoln Way Central,
days,
just Lincoln Way and Sandburg. Big rivalry game. It was that, and then also. Sandburg Andrew was always, but Andrew and Lincoln Way was a big rival.
Was pretty good there for a few years.
Yeah. Always a big rivalry game. Well, good. All right, Greg. Always good to hear from you. Appreciate you calling.
Take care.
Okay, guys. Take care.
All right, Greg. Take care. Yep. Greg drops off, and we appreciate him calling 815-254-7300. Don't go away. 725. The Seuss Speakus. The Wizard of Kankakee will join us, and we will talk some of his playoff projections. By the way, which he broke earlier today, the IHSA is kind of shopping around the idea of expanding the playoff field in football. Kind of like, Joe, when you were shopping around for a wife, and you kind of looked around and
no.
You went to the store and then you went back and then. Well, you had a lot going on back in those days. You were Cowboy Ray. You had all kinds of stuff. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Joining us is Bob. Hello, Bob.
What's up, guys?
Hey, friend. Appreciate you hanging in there with us.
Hey, that's good.
So, JCA, obviously, anytime you go to Niles and play Notre Dame, first of all, the drive is horrendous. So good luck with that. By the way, pray for the bomb victims on 294 when you're driving through, because that's exactly what it looks like it was bombed. Your thoughts from here on out? I mean, let's face it, every week's a test, Bob.
Yeah, last week was a joke. Last week's game was a joke.
How so?
How so? Yes.
I mean, not the score, but I mean, how can you be offsides 5 times in a row?
One of those, huh?
Yeah.
Huh? 5 times in a row. Then we score 2 touchdowns. We're on the 1 yard line. Then we get 2 holding calls. Everybody in the world, you can call every play for a hold.
That's true.
Yep.
No doubt. You know what I mean? But I mean, they didn't even have to snap the ball. They got tied us up. We moved the ball down the field for them.
Yeah. Yep. Are you going tomorrow? Do you make that trip?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Of course you'll be there.
Well, we'll probably leave about the same time. I'm going to Geneva, Bob. So we'll leave about the same time. And good luck with your travels tomorrow night. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Be
you
safe.
too, buddy.
All
Be
right.
safe. All right,
Bob drops off, and we appreciate
night.
you
You
too.
too.
All right. So Bob drops off. You know what? We're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll hook up with Steve Susi, talk some playoff projections and what have you. It's the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports.
Hey, high school football fans. We are happy to announce this week's Malloy State Farm and Pigskin Preview Player of the Week. We would like to congratulate inside linebacker Josh Feldman, who had 12 tackles for a combined minus 15 yards and a blocked PAT in Lincoln Way West 41-19 victory over Andrew. Josh and his parents will join us along with Coach Chalmers on December 8th at the award ceremony at Gatto's in New Lenox, sponsored by Frank Gatto, a great partner to this program. Congratulations, Chase.
In celebration of Frankfurt's Oktoberfest in Frankfurt this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., one lucky WJOL listener will get a gift basket worth $700. You're going to feast on all the best restaurants in Frankfurt with gift cards to 11 different Frankfurt restaurants. It's a prize pack worth over $700. Enter to win at WJOL.com as many times as you want now through Friday. Frankfurt's Oktoberfest this Saturday. A Stein holding contest, authentic German food and beer on the green.
Sherry, what have you done to your hair? What do you mean? Does it not look good? It doesn't look good. It looks freaking amazing. I can't believe how thick and healthy it looks. Oh, I must know your secret. No secret. It's hair volume from New Nordic. Hair volume, huh? Well, it certainly lives up to its name. Your hair has never looked thick. It is gorgeous. I was so tired of having thin and brittle hair. Ugh, and the shedding. So I figured I'd give hair volume a try. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with the results. Hey, where are you going? I'm going to pick up some hair volume right now. My reunion's next month, and I want my hair to look as good as yours.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or your local Walgreens, Rite Aid, or CVS. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Help your hair look full, voluminous, and beautiful again at newnordicusa.com, Walgreens, Rite Aid, or CVS.
What? My trade's gotta be worth more than this!
Hey, Chicagoland! Don't get hit hard by low trade offers. Willowbrook Ford makes trading up to a new Ford or quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV for thousands less. Fast, fun, and easy. Stuck in your loan or lease? Willowbrook Ford wants to get you released, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. So you can drive a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle for a lot less. For a limited time, get 0.9% APR for 66 months and up to $4,000 on new 2024 F-150 trucks and $2,000 in bonus cash on new 2024 Explorer, Edge, Escape SUVs. Plus, Willowbrook Ford will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Get pre-approved today at willowbrookford.net. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience at Willowbrook Ford. Conveniently located on Route 83, half mile north of I-55, 4 miles south of I-88, or online at willowbrookford.net. $1,554 per month for $1,000 finance on select models. Subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Sale ends 10/31/24.
High school football on 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the Week 6 edition of the show. Well, you know us, you love us, and we appreciate all 17 of you people that listen every week,
including this guy.
Welcome aboard. This is Pigskin Preview on 1340 WJOL, and joining us live, yes, we were able to get the tin can all the way out to Kankakee. Breaker 19, turn in, Steve Susi. Are you there, Sus?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Look at that.
It works.
See, Joe went to high school with Alexander Graham Bell, talked to him, and got it all fixed.
Got it all straightened out, Seuss.
Good times.
All right. So your weekly playoff projections. You can be honest with us. You just make a few of these up, right? Just to screw with people.
Oh, sure. You see dartboard on my wall right now.
I could just see him in his room.
Oh, I'll believe me.
Darts.
There's no doubt. A dartboard, some darts, and a lot of autographed baseballs around him right now.
That's true.
Yep.
That is true.
Yeah.
So again, what's interesting, and you mentioned in your projections, which again, subscribe, go to Friday Night Drive, subscribe. Just don't be stupid. Just subscribe and get on with your life. You'll be better off for it. You still like have a lot of the same schools still dancing on the same enrollment lines, which, as you talk about in your this week's projections, generally seems to be the case more often than not. You mentioned how small school upsets continue to impact the field. Do people just not get it, Seuss? Is that the deal? They just don't realize that small schools also have as much of an impact as the bigger ones?
Well, I think one of the things.
Uh-oh. Steve?
Steve, you there?
No.
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 Don't tell me.
No. He dropped. Okay. Unfortunately, the phone gods are not with us right now.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. So we will try to reconnect. Sorry about that, folks. See, that's what we get, Joe. It's my fault.
Yeah,
I jinxed us.
A little too cocky here.
A little too cocky with the phones.
A little too cocky.
So we will try to reconnect if possible with Mr. Susi. And again, we had this issue last Thursday. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
All right, talk really fast.
Yes,
no,
I
I'm
was just
kidding.
going to say, talk real fast here.
All right, so we were talking about the enrollment game, and then you started, and the phone dropped. So
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I think, the people that are with this on a year-to-year basis and follow it extensively, yeah, they get the process. But you have a lot of new people that are coming through every year that don't understand the process, because every year I get emails from people saying, I thought we were a 7A school. I thought we were a 6A school. What's going on? And then you have to go through the whole process of explaining, hey, it's all one hand washes the other in this process. Like, you have teams that are on the bubble every year, and it depends on what's going on each side of that bubble. So, I mean, obviously the bubbles are more flexible in the middle, but it's still one of those things that from a year-to-year basis, you have basically the same teams, and how they end up where they end up is what ends up happening in schools 3 classifications away from them, and people don't really grasp that.
Yep. 4 and 5s. I think you had it at what, one point? 12, 13, 4 and 5s. Has that changed?
I've been floating between 9 and 13, I think, since the beginning. And then, of course, wouldn't you know it, today I get more information today that maybe some of the information that I got early in the year regarding the Chicago Public League may not be 100% accurate.
Oh, there's a stunner.
Shocker.
There's a big shock. So there might be a few more CPL teams that are allowed to be eligible than I originally knew. So that may wiggle that number a little bit more, but I've talked about this all season long, and I think you probably agree with this. I mean, we're living in a time right now in IHSA football where people don't like me using the word parity, but
it is.
I think it's kind of accurate.
100%.
I mean, I think we've got a larger group of teams that you would classify in the middle of the pack.
Yes.
So what that means is we're going to have fewer teams run the gamut, go undefeated. We're going to have fewer teams that finish 8-1, and we're going to have more teams that finish 5-4, 4-5, 3-6. And since we've got less teams, that's less teams that are going to get the 5 wins.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not complicated math. It's just a lot of math.
Have the numbers of 11-man stabilized at all, or they continue to drop?
I mean, I think when you talk about it in a grand scope, I mean, it's not like we're losing 2% every year.
Right.
I think what it comes down to is we're losing, ultimately we lose maybe 2 or 3 to various,
8-man
either
or
consolidations or 8-man or whatever it is. And then once the season starts, we might lose 2 or 3 more.
Okay.
Like that. And that's what's happening. That's what happened this year with Riverton and Rockford Christian and De La Salle.
Right.
And I think Walter Christian is either on the verge of
I was just going to
that,
mention, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that this morning.
or they already have. I don't know if it's been made official, but they've now dropped. They've now intended to forfeit their last 3.
Yeah. By the way, that's Walter Lutheran, but now obviously Walter Christian. They've changed it to obviously more than just the Lutherans are welcome there. So it's it's a shame. Again, it's another long time small Catholic private school that unfortunately is going to step away to the wayside a little bit. as far as the actual projections, to me, one of the big storylines, I think, going in, and I'm interested to see how well it plays out. I mean, you just point to the Maine Souths, the Loyolas, the Glenbard West of the world, and I know they're probably all still on your watch, and rightfully so. Boy, do you want to be that, Joe Radiguero, do you want to be that 9-0, 8A team that draws Loyola in the first round, or Maine South? Hey, congratulations, you're undefeated, Oswego. Who do you run into round one? Oh, yeah, we got a 5-4 Glenbard West team coming to see you.
No, thanks.
Is that kind of perking your interest as well?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just kind of look at it and, you're just over the many, many years that I've been doing this because I'm old, you just get used to where teams usually fall.
Right.
And I think the thing that's most interesting about this season to me in this projection system is like seeing where these teams are falling now that they're not in their ordinary places, and then seeing kind of the ping pong balls moving around to fill those spots that those teams are vacating that they're usually in, and then seeing what it comes down to. And like some of these 10 seed against a 23 seed game, and you're like, oh boy, it's like, I was talking about this earlier this week, and I don't think this is reserved to the upper classes. I just feel like we're going to get, and I think we've talked about this before, I think we're going to get a lot of very, very interesting first round matchups this year.
Yep.
That if you turn the page back 3 years, that was a semifinal. That was a
totally
quarterfinal.
agree. Yep.
And it's just, we're going to get them in like different perspectives. And it's just, I don't know what class it's going to be in, but there's going to be one little quadrant of 4 teams, and you're going to look at it and you're going to say to yourself that those 4 teams could all be semifinalists.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's going to happen because we've got too many teams out there that I think are really good football teams that are going to end up with 2 or 3 losses, and 2 or 3 losses in a 32 class system. 2 losses is going to get you a 15 seed. So you're going to run into a 2 right off in the second round there. 3 losses is going to get you in a 32 seed, is probably going to get you a 23. I mean, that pairs you with a 10 in the first round, and then a 7 if you win that game. So there's just going to be a lot of, I think, matchups that you just would fully expect to be waiting 3 weeks into the playoffs to get, and you might get them a lot faster than you're used to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Wilmington once again playing the enrollment dance. No surprise there. What's your gut on it?
I think it's 2.
Okay.
Because we're starting to like I talk about a lot of the small school upsets. We're starting to run out of, not totally, but we're starting to run out of teams that can actually punch their way in.
Right.
Teams are falling away, and then how many small school teams are there out there right now that can actually fight their way into the bracket? There are a few, and I know who they are, but they could just as easily come up short. And the thing about 4 and 5 teams at the small school level is it's not always the case, but it's mostly the case. They're not going to be the ones that are going to be lining up and taking those at-large berths if we need 4-win teams.
Is the Kishwaukee Trainwreck your biggest nightmare conference right now?
It's pretty bad. I mean, credit to those schools. I'm glad that everybody's competitive, but for doing what I do, it's an absolute disaster. Yeah. I mean, I can't get a good read on it right now. Sometimes I'll have conferences where I can't get a good read on 2, maybe even 3 teams. I can't get a good read on like 6.
The whole conference.
It makes it really hard to do what I'm doing. I just almost kind of have to wait for the data to reveal itself and then there's going to be some conflicting things on top of it. There's so many layered things, and that's one of the things that's really interesting. And I was looking at it the other day. I actually think the coin flip to decide which team goes into which class might actually come into play this year.
Yeah.
And how does I mean, for those of you that don't know how that works, There are a couple of schools right now that are hovering around the bubble that have exactly the same enrollments. So the highly scientific way to decide which team goes into the lower or higher classification is that they flip a coin.
Look, we've all seen Friday Night Lights, the movie.
Yes.
The movie, okay?
Yeah, the movie.
Believe me, I love the TV series, but I'm talking about the movie.
Yes.
When they're all sitting in a restaurant, there's like, what, 3 schools?
Yes.
And 2 are going in and 1 is going out, and they're sitting and it's on live TV. Seuss, put that damn coin flip on live TV for everyone to see. I want to see that coin flip.
Well, I was talking to somebody about this scenario earlier this week, and I'm like, they need to do it like Major League, just for my sanity.
Yes.
They need to do it like Major League Baseball does it. Announce like 2 weeks ahead that these are the results of the various coin flips, so I know.
Yep.
Because what's going to end up happening is we're going to have to end up flipping that coin, and they don't do it until Saturday until they absolutely have to.
Right.
Is that I'm going to put the teams in the wrong classes, and it's going to screw.
Yeah,
up
come
both my
on,
brackets.
come on, Wizard of Kankakee. Let's see how good you really are now.
Wizard of Will County.
I'm gonna
Whatever.
simulate 2,000 coin flips and see what happens.
Yeah, you're going to be in the loony bin. That's where they're going to put you after that.
I'm already there.
I
man.
know.
I mean, I have a reserved room.
All right, so I'm gonna give out a couple of examples where I think Steve made these brackets up. We'll see what he says or not. Okay. 4A, you ready? Morris would host St. Viator. Then the winner play the Coal City Rochelle. Steve Soucy, you made that up.
Everyone that knows me knows I like every projection that I do typically has Morris playing St. Viator. It doesn't matter what class it's in.
That's funny.
So that's like, it could be 4, it could be 5. I've paired those 2 teams together about 300 times over the last 5 years. So that should be, that's what it does. It just spits that game out. It doesn't matter what the records are. Like, I can't control the machine anymore.
I don't believe you, but that's okay.
Can't control that.
5A, Joliet Catholic Academy, on the road to Marion. I don't mean Catholic or Central Catholic. I mean Marion, Illinois. Steve Soucy, you made that up.
I did make that one up. That one is my personal protest for 5A being in North-South.
Nice.
That's every year I try to make the most outlandish South bracket pairings that I can to demonstrate how foolish it is to put that bracket in 1 to 16s and not 1 to 32.
And then finally, and this is the last one, otherwise you want more, you got to subscribe to Friday Night Drive. In Class 8A, I got to give you this one because I know you made this up. There's no doubt in my mind. 16 seed versus 17 seed in 8A. Tell me you did not make up Loyola at Maine South, round 1.
Oh, that was the dartboard's fault.
Dartboard's fault. Yeah. It was the
Did you laugh out loud when you first wrote that one down?
Oh yeah, no, like my little scratch pad that I did it. I'm like, they're the 16. And I drew them on the line. I'm like, who's the 17? And then I flipped over the page. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, so it's definitely like, but I'm going to be honest. We're playing around here based on where we're at right now and how the rest of the season could play out. It's very likely that those guys are in the same record range.
Yep.
And, Loyola is going to be on top of them because of playoff points, but Maine South doesn't exactly hurt for playoff points. So if we're in the middle of that draw, I mean, yeah, maybe they get around it, but it could just as easily end up being the 15-18 game too. Exactly. I mean, it's, I don't want to say it's an extreme. We're still through 6 weeks here, but I think there's a high probability of something like that happening.
Yeah, I would not be surprised whatsoever. I just busted out laughing.
I'm going to switch. Well, it's playoff stuff, Steve, but I'm going to, it was mentioned about the playoff expansion possibilities. How close are they to that stuff?
I think they're close myself.
I think something's going to happen. And I think right now this attempt is to try to find the most likely thing that the majority of people can get behind. Now, am I hearing a lot of positive feedback for this? I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not.
Yeah, same here.
So, I mean, it's still got to go through the same process that everything else did. I will appreciate one thing about this. At least it's attempting to get a somewhat concrete proposal on the board.
Right.
Now, whether or not I agree with it, at least they're trying to nail down some of the vagaries that other proposals have had, where you're like, well, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do this? And there are no answers.
Yep.
So at least what they're trying to do here is they're trying to put together a proposal that says, this is how we're going to do it. Like it or don't like it, at least we're going to explain to you what we're doing here.
Oh,
So
unlike
I appreciate that.
Unlike, we're going to do districts, and then after we pass it, we'll let you know what they're going to look like. You mean that doesn't work very well?
That's what I'm saying. It's like you have to, whether or not you like it or not. And I mean, you know where I stand on this.
Yep.
I'm
right there
anti
with
on
you.
this.
Yep.
But at least put it out there and explain to me why this is better than the current system, other than just simply asking to take your word.
Is anybody, my theory too would be 1 to 32 is more important than expanding.
I think you're probably right about that. I mean, I think the most interesting thing I think comes out of all this talk is like Nazareth made a really good case that, 500, sub 500 teams can compete in the playoffs.
Yep.
Right.
Multiple teams last year from that group that won at least one playoff game of the teams that got in. And I'm actually of the opinion that, hey, okay, that's fine. But the way that, like we talked about earlier in this segment, the way that numbers are trending, the way that we have participating numbers, I think we're going to get at least a handful of 4-win teams that are going to get in. And I think all that number is going to do in the future is increase.
Yeah.
So where's your line?
Yep.
At what point? At what point are you not going, say that's not good enough to get in? Because if you're going to go to a situation, honestly, where this proposal has some 2 and 7s getting in, you might as well just open the whole thing up at that point.
No doubt. Yep. Seuss, we got to cut you loose. We're up against it. But
right,
always appreciate you hopping in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, pal.
Thank you.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
Seuss.
All right, Steve Susie from Friday Night Drive. We're going to step aside and take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back. We'll talk about the area and some of Steve's projections and where he sees some of the other teams. You're listening to Week 6 edition, Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
So you're getting some roof or exterior work done, and you've covered all your bases, right? Even checked out some online reviews. You think you've got everything covered? Well, think again. Not all roofing and siding companies are insured. That's why I can't say enough great things about R.E. Duchesne Construction. They're a licensed and fully bonded exterior contractor serving Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties for over 40 years. I trust them, and I've personally used them.
Hi, I'm Rita Duchesne Hughes. If you look at your home and don't like what you see, or what you have no longer protects your family and largest asset, call us at R.E. Duchesne Construction. R.E. Duchesne has an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, so you can be confident you need only make one call. Looking to upgrade? R.E. Duchesne offers a full line of roof shingles, gutters, siding, soffit fascia, and windows. These add great value and beauty to your home. Call us at 815-722-2821 for all your home improvement needs. Financing is now available. Check us out on the web at reduchene.com.
And be sure to tell them Scott Slocum sent you.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text REACH to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text REACH to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text REACH to 200-300. That's REACH to 200-300. REACH to 200-300.
1340 WJOL. Kozel Brothers and Miller Lite bring you the Pro Football Challenge. Go to WJOL.com to play. Pick the professional games each week, and if you rack up the most wins, you could win a Miller Lite prize pack worth $100, including autographed helmets, baseball caps, winter caps, buckets of beer, and Miller Lite t-shirts. Make your pick and win WJOL's Football Challenge. Pick the games today and each week during the season at WJOL.com.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And we're back. Welcome to the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Final lap, gentlemen, as we're getting ready and gearing up for a busy Week 6, the game of the week, Sandburg at Lincoln Way Central. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Guys, going through the area, we have 3 5-0 teams: Wilmington, Minooka, Lincoln Way East. Can we talk about Minooka for a minute?
Yes.
All right. Especially in the message board, which I find kind of interesting. All of a sudden, there's a whole lot of people that have a lot of interest in Minooka High School football. Just it kind of like been piled on to Minooka week this week. And, you know, and if it's deserved, I get it. But, you know, first of all, Minooka's obviously I don't think anyone expected Nequa to be this bad this year. So that's one of the non-conference opponents that they played. Rock Island, right before that home and home got scheduled, Rock Island was pretty solid.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, as soon as they played Minooka, it kind of all fell apart for them.
Yep.
So they tried to schedule up with that. And then, you know, the conference, you know, the crossovers are never going to be pretty. I think we already learned that.
Yes.
Obviously, they've got Yorkville this week, at Plainfield North, at Oswego, and then hosting Bolingbrook. So those are generally 2 out of the 3 should be very good at the very end there.
Yeah.
Bolingbrook, the jury's still kind of out. We'll
Right.
see. This week's a big test for them. They're playing Oswego.
Yes.
Lay off of Minooka a little bit. I think Minooka's trying to get things, you know, moving. They've done a tremendous amount of renovations there. It's an 8A school. It's an 8A facility. I think Matt Harding's a good guy in the right spot. I think Minooka's got a lot of things in place. People kind of bagging on the schedule in the conference. Well, we know how that goes, Joe. You can only control so much.
Right. You can only play the teams in front of you. I mean, that's
right.
That's how it usually is.
And if the conference isn't good this year, we'll find out round 1 of the playoffs because
Yes.
there's no playing around. You're either good and you're going to win in advance or you're not. And then we'll know. Don't completely poop on the Minooka Indians here because they're going to be just fine. And look, I live in the district. My kids went to the high school. I obviously am biased towards them. One of the few schools I allow myself to root for. Trust me, things are heading in the right direction. You've got a new AD in place there. Maybe we'll see some different things. Who knows? But just lay off. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
That being said, I think they probably have the biggest chance of not being undefeated after week 9.
out of the three.
Yes, I totally agree.
Although I'm telling you, Naperville Central, Lincoln Way East could potentially be a good game there in week 9.
I totally agree with
I
you
don't think
there.
I would switch it off the game we have planned, but I think it's right up there.
Right.
My opinion. 4-1, Cole City, Morris, only 2. Good game this week
I
for
was gonna
Morris at
say,
Rochelle.
Yep.
Good game at Sycamore. That very well be for the conference. I have no idea who Byron Center, Michigan is, but they're 4-1.
Okay.
So Morris has nothing easy there. Cole City, Reed Custer, they should be okay this week. Then, well, you go at Wilmington, Herscher, and Mantino. So what are we talking? 7-2 probably?
Right. Mantino's still undefeated though.
Okay.
They are still
Okay.
undefeated.
Yep, that's definitely worth noting for sure. The Tone is at 3-2, Lockport at 3-2, West Lincoln Way West at 3-2, JCA at 3-2, Lamont at 3-2, Plainfield South at 3-2, Lincoln Way Central at 3-2, Providence at 3-2. We have a lot of 3-2 teams,
Yes.
Joe.
Well, you look at, let's go with Lockport. I mean, let's go with the Tone. I mean, they got the big game against Mantino this week. As I said, Mantino's undefeated. They should be able to win out the rest of their games.
Yep.
Lockport, nothing easy. Naperville Central this week. Lincoln Way East week after.
Yeah, those are 4.
Lincoln Way West and HF. So
You got to get 2. So if you had to take 2 out of that, I'll say HF would be 1 and probably West.
And that's not going to be easy.
That won't be easy. Not at all.
Although they're playing them at home. So Lincoln Way West, that is.
You look at JCA, and we talked about the schedule. Got to win this week. Naperville at Niles Notre Dame, no doubt.
Yep.
At Mount Carmel, as I told you before, the scuttlebutt is Jake Elliott, the quarterback, might be hurt for a few weeks.
Okay.
We'll see what happens if he plays on Friday or not. Versus De La Salle at Provi. And Joe, I've been saying it since the preseason. That week 9 game
be absolutely correct.
is going to matter for someone, and it could matter for both of them. We'll see. Lamont, huge win, obviously, over TF North last week to get them to 3-2. They'll beat Bremen. They should probably beat Richards, though. Richards is pretty good this year.
Okay.
Oak Forest, they'll win. Hillcrest is down this year.
Right.
Hillcrest nowhere near what they've been, but Hillcrest has won a couple in a row.
6-3 or
Yeah,
7-2
6-3, 5-4.
Really? Yep.
Plainfield South, again, versus Joliet West. That's a toss-up.
And to me, they should win out then.
At Plainfield East, they should win. At Central, they should win. At Joliet Central, they should win. So 7-2, 6-3, nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Lincoln Way Central at Sandburg, very tough game. I think it's a very close game. Should beat Stagg, will beat Waubonsie Valley, will beat Rich.
Yep.
So again, nothing wrong with that.
6-3 if they happen to lose tomorrow night.
Providence, hands down, the toughest schedule out of all the remaining in the area.
Yes.
No doubt. At Marist, at Loyola, Marian Catholic, they should win pretty handily. At JCA. Loaded. Got to get a win. Got to get 2 wins, actually.
Yes, they do.
But at minimum 1, and hope your playoff points carry you.
Yes.
So the remainder, 2-3, Plainfield North, Joliet West, the only 2 at 2-3.
Well, in my opinion, Plainfield North played a tough game against Oswego and got beat. They'll win this week.
Yep.
That game against Manuka, to me,
Huge.
is going to be the huge game because I think they can beat Bolingbrook and Yorkville.
I agree. I definitely agree. We said that non-conference for Plainfield North was tough.
Yes, it was.
They played some very, very good teams.
Yep.
M. Cole, what do you want? Most competitive class in the playoffs. Man, that's tough. M. Cole, give me another week on that one. I'll do a little more studying on that, but I don't know. I mean, the way 8A fell with Maine South and Loyola as a first-round game, yeah, it might be competitive. Yeah. Joliet West, they win the conference or no?
All depends about tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That's because they're gonna win out.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
they'll
don't
either
doubt it.
finish, 7-2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-3, or
Who gets a win, Joe? Reed Custer, Joliet Central, Plainfield Central. Who gets a win? I'll say Reed Custer.
I was going to say Reed Custer.
And maybe Plainfield Central. Yeah, I'll say Plainfield Central as well because they've got Joliet Central in week 6,
right,
or week 7. So, all right. Good night, everybody.
I think Reed Custer can get 2 wins.
Yeah.
Streeter and Lyle.
Yeah.
They've got Cole City and then Mantino. So 2 tough games, but I think they can get 2.
Biggest surprise in the area up to this point, who would it be? What team? At a positive, I'll say in a positive way.
Positive note. Boy,
I mean, it kind of fell. So we're talking, I think we projected and Seuss also projected 13 area teams to make the playoffs.
Okay. I've got 15, but you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Coal City.
Yeah, kind of quietly.
Because quietly they lost their quarterback, and the younger kid has really done well. So I'm going to say, not that Coach Logren and the Kohlers were a dark horse, but when you lose your quarterback right off the bat, and then it sounds like the quarterback's doing fine, the backup quarterback.
You could make a case for Plainfield South, especially if they win this week.
Right.
Because like you said, I think they win this week, they'll win out.
Yes.
So I don't think anyone knew, and they were coming off kind of a rough year the year before with a first-year head coach. So I definitely think Coach Brosman's done a nice job.
And defensively, they're pretty good, and that's going to be a tough task for Joliet West to score points.
Yep. All right, Evan's had enough. He told me to wrap it up. I'm not going to argue with that, man.
No.
All right, for the coach, Joe Rodagero, for Evan Bredesen, I'm Edgy Tim. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will be back this same place, same bat channel, same bat time next week, and we'll break it all down. Thanks, everybody on YouTube for watching and being with us. And this has been the Week 6 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's news, talk, sports. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.